At an event at the Detroit Economic Club yesterday, Donald Trump delivered a speech that openly denigrated the city of Detroit. He said that if his opponent, who is currently the vice president, is elected president, the entire country will end up like Detroit. In his remarks, Trump emphasized that Detroit is an example of failure and described the city as a chaotic place, attributing it to bankruptcy and other social problems. His remarks clearly offended many Detroiters, especially considering that the city has begun to rebound from its hard times. Responding to Trump's insults, the campaigns of Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz did not remain silent. They countered Trump's statement forcefully, emphasizing that Detroit is not as dead as Trump said. They strongly rejected the narrative that the city gave up and waved the white flag. Detroit, they said, is a city that has rebuilt itself with hard work. Its residents support each other, pitch in, and work to overcome the challenges they face. They called Detroit a strong city, full of builders, fighters, and leaders, a motor city that was bigger and better than ever. In an impassioned reply, Harris asserted that Trump does not understand what Detroit has achieved. When Trump said that the entire country would end up like Detroit if he became president, Harris countered that Trump should hope to be that lucky. He underlined that Detroit is a city that struggles and rises with pride. Harris also closed her statement by stating that she approved of the message, sending a strong signal that her campaign would not let Trump's attacks go unanswered. Harris' statement instantly became big news, considered an effective way to counter Trump's attacks. In Detroit, many people were outraged by Trump's comments. Local politicians and community leaders warned that Trump, who faces multiple legal cases and risks jail time, might try to mobilize his supporters in Detroit's suburbs, especially those who are white. Trump seems to be trying to revive fears of Detroit's past, when the city faced an economic crisis and high poverty rates, to attract sympathy and support from certain groups. However, the reality is different from the picture Trump paints. Detroit, while it still has challenges, has seen much progress. Major crime rates have decreased, investment has increased, and the city's population is even growing for the first time in decades. The mayor of Detroit, Mike Duggan, while not a fan of Trump, strongly rejected Trump's statement. He highlighted that Detroit has achieved great progress without any help from Trump. Duggan even made a video on Instagram refuting the negative narrative brought by the former president. For many Detroiters, Trump's statement was seen as an attempt to stir up fear among white groups, especially in the suburbs, by linking the country's decline to Detroit's past fate. However, for many, including civil rights activists and local politicians, Trump's remarks sparked anger and a spirit of resistance. They see Detroit as a symbol of resurgence, not failure, and strongly reject narratives that try to denigrate the city. Trump has also previously attacked predominantly black cities such as Detroit, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee, especially when the 2020 election results began to show his defeat. Trump's campaign even provoked a riot at a vote-counting center in Detroit during the 2020 election, suggesting that efforts to demonize the city are not new. This attitude is considered part of Trump's strategy to play on racial fears among white voters, especially in states like Michigan that are important battlegrounds in presidential elections. Moreover, Trump also has a long track record of policies that harm the black community. From refusing to rent property to black families early in his business career, to supporting the death penalty for the Central Park 5 black and Latino teens wrongly accused of rape in Central Park, Trump has shown hostility towards the black community over the years. In fact, many people see Trump's policies and rhetoric as aimed at reinforcing white supremacy, rather than advancing the interests of the nation as a whole. In addition, Trump's past policies, such as denying aid to Puerto Rico after a natural disaster, show that he has no hesitation in withholding resources from territories that are majority non-white or under Democratic leadership. Many fear that if Trump returns to power, he will take similar steps against major U.S. cities that have significant black populations or are led by Democratic mayors, such as Houston, New Orleans, Charlotte, and Atlanta. Ultimately, the message from Detroit's leaders and Harris supporters was clear: they refused to bow to Trump's negative narrative. They emphasized that Detroit is an example of strength and perseverance, a city that rose from adversity and is now on its way to a brighter future. And for those in other major cities, this message is also a rallying cry against Trump's attempts to divide using rhetoric based on fear and division.